Sir, can you please check your WhatsApp? 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 Sir, can you please check your WhatsApp?
Yeah, received it. 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 Received it.
Hello. Check, check. Hello. Check, check. Hello. Check, check. Hello. Check, check. Hello. Check, check.
Good evening, Dr. P.K. Mishra.
Good evening.
Yeah, how are you, sir? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely fine.
So nice to see you,
good
sir,
evening,
after a long
Dr.
time. Yeah.
P.K. Mishra.
Yeah, nice that you
good
have
evening.
put together another
Yeah,
good
how are
show.
you, sir? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely
Thanks
fine.
a lot, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
So nice.
So we'll
to
be
see you,
starting
sir,
in
after
after
long
some
time, yeah.
times.
Yeah,
Still
nice
people
that you
are
have
joining.
put together
No
another
problem,
good
absolutely
show.
no
Yeah.
problem.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely
so be
fine.
here
Sir.
and
Thank
then.
you, sir. Yeah. So nice.
So we'll be
Dr.
Dr. Sachin
Sachin
Varnika sir
Varnika
is also
Yeah.
joining in shortly.
Yeah.
He's also yes.
Yeah, I think evening time is a little challenging because people will be
Very true. Yeah.
morning people are a little more fresh and all that. In the evening, at the end of the day,
They
I
get
think it's a little more challenging for everyone.
correct, sir. Yeah, you're right.
But anyway, I think time is it's okay.
Yeah.
People will adjust to it, no problem.
Right, sir. Yeah. We'll wait for some times.
Yeah,
And
sure.
in fact, in Hyderabad, it is raining. In Bangalore and Hyderabad, there rains. So our one speaker is on the way. He's in the rain.
Bangalore and Hyderabad, I think they are not in good shape. Lot of rain and a lot of
True, sir. True. Yeah. Good evening, Omkar.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Yeah,
Good
so
evening,
how are
everybody.
you? Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
good, sir.
So good. You are in Hyderabad or Bangalore?
In Hyderabad only. Now,
You are
Bangalore
in
is very
yeah, yeah. So
heavy rains, heavy traffic in Bangalore nowadays.
okay, so you'll be coming in the night on
Sunday,
uh yes, Sunday. Yeah, yeah.
yes,
This
coming
is
Sunday.
right, right. So yeah, yeah. So
Yeah. Sorry, I'm unable to open my video because of here no power is there
okay,
due
no
to rain.
problem. No problem. No problem. Okay, it's raining there in Hyderabad. Yeah,
Yes,
that is.
yeah.
So we'll wait for some times, and then along with me, Dr. PK Mishra is there.
Hello, Mr. Good evening.
Hello. Hi, good evening.
Yeah.
Yeah. so s- so Dr. PK Mishra had been the CTO at one of the firms at Bangalore. He is the alumnus of IIT Kanpur, isn't it, sir? Yeah.
Yeah, I studied at IIT Kanpur. I've got three
That's
three degrees from there. All my degrees from there only.
from IIT Kanpur.
That's great to hear, sir.
Yeah. He is in the rain, so I think
Yeah.
shortly he'll be joining.
Yes, yes. I just not got the information about this.
Okay, okay, okay.
There are so much floods in Bangalore actually from last 2 days.
Yeah, that's true. So Delhi is dry. Huh. Power bank. क्या करूं? Mishra sir will be starting shortly. Still, some people are yet to join.
No issues. I think
Yeah.
wait till there is a quorum kind of thing. Yeah.
Correct, sir. Yeah. Yes, Kanchan.
Dr. Shukla.
Yes, sir.
मिश्रा साहब नमस्ते.
Namaskar, sir.
कैसे सर?
Bas बढ़िया. I mean, absolutely fine. I think all of us have come up pretty well in the last 2 years. I mean, we are all fine. That is, we are thankful to God, and everything is good.
Yes sir. Am I audible properly to you all?
I am able to hear you.
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir. Good evening, sir.
Okay. That's great. Shukla ji, once everything is set, let us start, okay?
Yes, sir. We'll start soon. Yeah. Sonal, am I audible to you?
So all set. Am I audible and visible?
Sonal.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah, I'm Sonal Survey, your host for the day. So today all of us are gathered here for an advanced masterclass on application of artificial intelligence, machine and international business with special reference to education sector. So thank you all for joining us here today. I would like to give a short introduction of Dean FMS BVDU Director IMED Pune, Dr. Sachin S. Vednekar, sir. Sir,
That is the AICT training and learning team, who has once again bestowed her trust on us and given us this responsibility for now with this FDP, we are going to empower almost 50 faculties which have been selected, and it is being 2 weeks workshop. In that 1 week, we are going to have a theory part, and that is going to be online, and another week we are going to have the physical training, and that is more on the participants are going to learn. So I welcome once again, because I am going to speak during the FDP also, so I will not take much time. And now I'll request Honorable our Dean, Dr. Sachin S. Varnikar sir, to guide us at this occasion. And also I welcome all speakers, Dr. P.K. Mishra sir and the other Mr. Omkar from who is the ex-IBM and who has a very rich experience into the field, and also Mr. Mithun Kumar, okay, who is just struck off in the rains in Hyderabad. So, okay, I welcome all those who are present on this. Like I can see, there are many speakers, but I can see only few here. So, okay, I welcome you all participants, and I request Dr. Sachin S. Varnikar sir, our Dean and Director, to kindly guide us at this and at this occasion. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Shukla. Thank you, Sonal. I'm very happy on the Teachers' Day. We are having the inauguration of the Atal FDP, which is going to be conducted for the next 2 weeks. As usual, we have been getting great response. 50 participants are there, and very important, I must share with you all thanks to, and we are grateful to AICT for allowing us to conduct. This is the third Atal FDP that we are conducting as an institution under Bharati Vidyapeeth deemed to be university, the Institute of Management and Entrepreneurship Development, Pune. This is the third FDP under Atal that we are conducting, and very important, on the Teachers' Day we are inaugurating. Very recently we had a workshop on NEP. The very focus of NEP, the National Education Policy, has been on the multiple entry, multiple exit, academic bank of credit, and very, very important is multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary courses, research, and versatile personality. The holistic development of the personality of the students has been the focus of the new education policy. The importance about this Atal FDP is the great speakers, the great resource persons that we have got. We will have the sessions by Mr. M. Kumar, the trainer, QNRF, ex-IBM. Mr. Manish Gupta is a data analyst, ex-IBM again. Mr. Nalagoni Omkar, again data scientist, ex-HCL. Mr. Atul Kahate, IT expert, a renowned author from Pune. Mr. Vikram Arora, CTO, future. Dr. P.K. Sharma, I can see him. Sir, welcome on the screen. The CTO, Adapro, alumnus, IIT Kanpur. Mr. Sanket Bhokre, data analyst, SAP Solutions. Dr. Chandrani Singh, Professor Big Data, same. So these are the great speakers, the great resource persons we have. Ultimately, what matters is who are the resource persons. So it is going to be a great feast to all the participants, and I'm sure they will enlighten us on the very important subject, that is advanced masterclass on application of AI, machine learning and deep learning in domestic and international business, with special reference to education sector. Now, VUCA, this word is VUCA word. That is volatile, uncertain, full of complexity and ambiguity. Change is the only factor which is constant. Even in the education sector, now we have seen there are 1,000+ universities, which includes the central universities, institutes of national importance, the state universities, state private universities, the deemed to be universities, now cluster universities, now foreign universities also coming to India. There's going to be great change. and it's going to be volatile. The VUCA world is the correct word that I can use. And after 36 years, the national education policies got changed. And the focus is very much on the vocational education, the skill integration of skill development courses with the vocational MOOCs, online courses. The very objective is to increase the GER from 27% to 50%. So these are the various focus areas, and which is not the field which has not been touched by AI and machine learning. And education sector, we are going to see a lot of changes with this. So what changes are going to take place? And we have already seen many changes that are being taking place. And education sector, we have a lot of opportunities. At the same time, many challenges are there. On the Teachers' Day, today we had a Teachers' Day celebration. All the 10,000 plus teachers of Bharati Vidyapith were felicitated. It was a very big event. And the focus of this, as said by our Honorable Secretary as well as Honorable Chancellor, Honorable Chairman AICT, Honorable Chairman UGC as well, they have been focusing on the changes that are taking place in the education sector. Dual degree, multidisciplinary courses, academic bank of credit. Already most of the universities have joined, have registered for this ABC. Now the students have started getting the ID and registering on this. So we are going to see a sea change. It is going to be a digital transformation, and this AI and machine learning are going to play very important role in domestic and international business, particularly in the education sector. The UGC has already allowed international collaborations with the international universities, particularly for twinning, joint degree, and dual degree programs. So many more such opportunities will come. And one, the survival of the fittest has been the mantra in the 21st century. And more important is survival of the fastest amongst fittest is going to be the mantra. And if we want to succeed, we have to immediately catch up. We have to upgrade ourselves. We have to upskill ourselves, and we have to ensure that we are ahead of time and we are ready to face the future challenges. So this is what is expected in the next 2 weeks. As I told you, we have great resource persons. They'll be taking the sessions. Dr. Shukla, Dr. Shraddha Vernekar, and Mr. Deepak Navalgul. Dr. Shyam Shukla is the main coordinator, the chief coordinator of this particular Atal FDP. And all three together, along with our faculty members of IMD, they will ensure that this FDP is a great success. This is again in a hybrid mode. Now that's again in NEP, that is the focus. Integration of online with the conventional. Now, this is again the best example in Atal FDP. We have online and then again offline. So we know the advantages of online. We know the advantages of the offline, and we are trying to have the integration of both. So this is how this particular Atal FDP will be conducted. I just have a request to all the participants not to miss a single session. Please write down, make your notes, and at the end of the Atal FDP, am I audible to all, Shuklaji? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, you are audible.
At the end of the in online, this is one question we have to repeatedly ask. That is, am I audible? And thanks to Net Devta, that is the network is fine. So at the end of the 2 weeks program, we would definitely like to get the feedback from all the participants and what did they learn and what is the outcome. So our focus is on outcome-based education in NEP. So this is what I just wanted to share with you all in my 10 minutes given to me. So I'm sure this Atal FDP again, like the last two Atal FDPs where we have 100 plus, and now the number of participants is decided, pre-decided. The registration is again, thanks to AICT for all the great network they have done, the various schemes they are bringing for the development of all the stakeholders. The AICT is doing such a great job. I have no words to express. Everybody is busy. Every day we get something new to learn, and learn, unlearn, and relearn is a process. And Atal FDP is again a great opportunity for all those who have joined to learn, unlearn, and again relearn. There are many things that we need to learn. As a teachers, we have to be students throughout our life. The best teacher is the best student. So Atal FDP, I'm sure, like the last two, will again, this third Atal FDP that is being organized by Bharati Vidyapeeth University Institute of Management and Entrepreneurship Development, Pune, one of the top universities in India, one of the top institutes in India, I'm sure will be a great success. Once again, very happy Teachers Day. We have great teachers joining, and very happy to see Mishra sir Apko and the other members also, resource persons, they have joined. They're about to join, and I'm sure it's going to be a great feast for all the participants in the next few days. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words, and you have really motivated the participants, and you have brought the new knowledge in the session, in the beginning of the session. So thanks a lot, sir. Thanks for your presence and thanks for guiding us. Now, like moving ahead, I'll request Dr. P.K. Mishra, sir, to kindly bless us with few words. And because he's going to take session in between, but if you just say your blessings on this auspicious day, it will be nice. Now, like moving ahead, I'll request
my greetings to Professor Varnekar, Dr. Sukla, I think for really conducting this program for the third time, and I'm sure I think you are doing a great job. And today being the Teachers' Day, I think enabling teachers to be teachers, I think that is they call it in Indian context when doing something good, something like a punya. I think it's a great effort. I'm sure. I mean, I keep telling people that the future requires people who are actually real. They should have real skill. They should have their tools. And the next set of tools in our hand will be artificial intelligence. So you have to be real, you have to be artificial in order to win the world. I think at an individual level, at a teacher's level, at an organizational level, I think this combination, like it or not, is going to really take over. We have to equip ourselves with artificial knowledge, artificial intelligence, and artificial tools, no matter how good or how gifted we are in our own learning and understanding. So I think this course is very appropriate. I think the tools, technologies, and the practices, whatever that is followed in artificial intelligence, our teaching community should be aware of it and carry it to our students. And I think the Teachers' Day is a great beginning of starting with the teachers for teachers. So I really wish a great success of the program, and I am sure everybody will like it, and there will be a lot of useful takeaways that will help the society. I think from my personal behalf and behalf of Bharati Vidyapeeth, I mean, I think I am really thankful to all participants, the UGC, AICT, and all those enabling organizations. I think it's a good show. I really wish it to be a great success during the 2 weeks that it is being held. Thank you, everyone. Have a great success during the next 2 weeks.
Thank you so much, Mishra sir. Thanks for your kind words. We are really, it's very nice to hear from you. So we'll have you like during the midweek, we'll have your session also.
No problem. I mean, I think it will be next 2-3 days. I mean,
yes,
we'll have an entertaining session. I mean, no doubt about it. Because I think a lot of things, I mean, my personal feeling is a lot of things that will get said here, they have to be slightly moderated, because they are not actually student. Everyone is not a student here. Everybody is a teacher come student. So I think we have to moderate it with, as I said, it is theory, practice, and I mean, whatever actual skill. We'll try to merge them together and make a good mix so that it is useful for everybody.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, thank you so much for your kind words. So now moving ahead, and once again, as it has been brought by the our dean sir, that along with me, my fellow coordinators, that is Dr. Shraddha Varnikar and Dr. Deepak Navalgund, they will be with me. So they are present here, and we'll be together. We'll be taking this session, and we'll be bringing the different speakers and also the different knowledge. Now we are having Mr. Nalagoni Omkar. Okay, so just I will address I will just brief about Mr. Omkar. And he is Mr. Omkar. Are you there?
Yes, Shukla, sir.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
here.
So just okay, I'll give a brief introduction of Mr. Omkar, and then he can take this session ahead, maybe for a few minutes before Mr. Mithun Kumar is going to join. So Mr. Omkar has completed his post-graduation program from IIDT Tirupati. Okay, this is Tirupati is again, it's a place of the intellectuals. So he is a data scientist with the demonstrated history of working with the information technology with many MNCs, and he has worked with the Accenture and HCL. And he is skilled with the Python. He is with the uh, pandas, the NLTK and Spacey, and also in deep learning, and also in NLP. He's having his expertise. So we welcome Mr. Omkar, and Mr. Omkar, now at the beginning of this session, like you can, you'd like to say something to the audience, to the our faculties.
Yes, Shukla, sir. First of all, everyone, happy Teachers Day, everyone. So today is Teachers Day dedicated to all teachers. And it could be a very honor to present sessions in Bharatiya Vidyapit, for me especially, because I have taken many colleges in Karnataka state, but especially this Bharatiya Vidyapit, I came to know that is the honor behind this university. I came to know very recently. So it is very great honor to me to present the sessions here. Like Varnekar sir and Mr. sir, you are kind of very great words. You are encouraging the people. Like I like very the mantra Varnekar sir saying that past it and pretest. That mantra I like very much because nowadays AI is growing very well in the entire world. Now, every company using AI technology. Now you are taking the initiation. Of course, initiation taken by AICTE, UGC, but Shukla sir and Varnekar sir and the team is followed up, and they are conducting third session, and they're planning to complete more sessions, and they want to encourage the faculty to learn new things, and the knowledge transfer from faculty to students. The way of they design the structure is very nice. I loved it a lot. So this data science program they created, and the structure of the program entire curriculum also I have seen. That is a very great design. That is the data science program. I hope we will have a great week ahead in the future, and everyone learn a lot of knowledge from this data science and AI, and they can use that applications in the real world also. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mithun. Yeah, so for yes, for your inspiring words. Okay, so now will be just I'll be briefing you about that how we are going to move ahead. So this we are having the 6 days online program, and in this 6 days we are going to learn so many theoretical part of it, and that is Mr. Mithun Kumar. Mithun Kumar is going to take that session, and also along with the other speakers. Okay, that is already we have given you in this the in agenda we have already mentioned that okay, the people those who are going to join, who are going to take these sessions, and then in week 2 we are going to have the physical session. So in that the physical presence will be required by all the faculty members. So the many of the faculties they have put a lot of questions like in the WhatsApp group which we have created, so that whether some of them whether they are not able to join and whether they should be physically present. So now the attendance will be marked after every session, and the 80% of the attendance is mandatory. So that is, it is for the information of all participants who are there. uh, and so your attendance is essential. Beside that, okay, we'll be also having the test at the end, and also the write-ups will be required. So this is what I would like to brief in the beginning itself, so there are no doubts on that. So now we'll come with the end of this, the small inaugural session which we had it. So I would like to thank Dr. Sachin Varnika sir, Dean FMS and Director IMD, who has given his time, and he has inspired us. Also, I would like to thank Dr. P.K. Mishra sir, who has just joined in the inaugural, and he has again given some of the important feelings about the program on this Teachers' Day. So we are inspired the way the world is moving ahead, and then we need to learn more about the data science and also the machine learning. We are thankful to Omkar sir, who has just at the beginning he said that the future is going to be the of the data science, and all the participants. So now we thank all for this inaugural, and now we'll be starting with the main session. That is the technical session 1, and I will invite Mr. Mithun Kumar to please take over the session. Okay, so we'll take just a 1 minute break, and we'll join back with the confirmation of Mr. Mithun. Okay, so thanks a lot. Thank you, everybody. Will be please be here. Don't go anywhere. We are just taking 1 minute break. Mr. Mithun, am I audible to you? He's just joining. He was struck off in the rain, and he's just opening up his laptop and joining. So now, can we have something from the participants? Like, can we have a small, those who are present, can we have some small introduction from them, from any of the participants? Okay, like Maurice sir, you are there? Dr. Ajit Maurice sir?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Yeah. Would you like to say something? Introduce yourself, like before Mithun joins.
Good afternoon, the Dean faculty. Good evening, all. Dr. Virnekar sir, Dean Faculty of Management, and the speakers over here for this particular FDP. I'm very happy to join this particular inauguration session, and I'll be giving a talk on one of the session for this particular FDP. And for me, for this particular session, just to introduce myself, I am presently looking after the distance and online department of Bharati Vidyapit. There are online programs conducted by Bharati Vidyapit like MBA, BBA, and BCA. We also have distance programs, and presently I'm looking after that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your introduction. Yeah. So I see that we have. Yes, I am just picking up from Dr. Vandana Patil. Am I audible to you, Dr. Vandana Patil? Dr. Baljit Kaur?
Good evening, sir. Mithun
Yes. Hi, Mithun. Yeah, welcome. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes, can you open your camera, Mithun, if you are comfortable?
Yes.
Yeah, Mithun, yes. Okay, so I think you got stuck in the rain. Yeah, that
Yes,
is.
sir. We are having heavy rains here, sir, so it's very difficult to move, sir. Sorry, my apologies.
Okay. So now I'll just introduce Mr. Mithun. So he completed his MSc in statistics from Bangalore University. He has handled heterogeneous crowd involving marketing, pharma, HR, supply chain, and logistics. He has more than 15 years of work experience in leading MNCs and has served as a trainer in Qatar National Research Foundation. So that is known as a QNRF, and also NETA app, and also Dubai Customs. Also, he has the experience. His areas of expertise include marketing analytics, cross-selling and upselling, RFM analysis, and recommendation engine, finance, fraud analytics, credit risk analysis, value at risk, and HR analytics, attrition analysis, compensation and benefit analysis, and offer range analysis. So I think, Mr. Mithun, I have seen your videos even. So if I would have missed something, you can tell to the audience about your expertise on that. So we welcome Mr. Mithun, and now Mr. Mithun, it is over to you. Kindly take over the technical session 1 and please move ahead.
I'm sorry, I had put myself on mute. My apologies. Yes. Thank you so much for the warm. Thank you so much for the warm introduction, Sham sir. Really a pleasure being here. I hope I'm audible to everybody, sir.
Yes, you are audible, Mithun.
Yes, yes. So, firstly, as I said, thanks to all the people for participating here, particularly for Sham sir and for having invited me here to talk about some of the important ideas in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and such things. Now, even before I sort of get started with today's topic, at a very high level, I just want to spend a couple of moments asking what exactly do you understand when we speak about machine learning, deep learning, AI? Are they all the same? Are they interconnected? Is there a strong distinction among these three ideas? Right. So this is an open question to everybody. Before we get started with today's topic, just a general question, so that I can break the ice and we can just get started ASAP. Anybody can answer this question? Difference between AI, machine learning, and deep learning. Yes, please. Yes, please. Anybody? I see a lot of interesting people. Ajit sir. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. If there are no, if there are no answers.
Yes, sir. I think somebody will. We should ask again. Hema, madam, you are there. Or anyone else like would like
yes,
to?
Sir, I am here. Yes, sir, I am here.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so can you tell what you understand with this? What are the question he asked?
Artificial intelligence is a kind of intelligence provided to machine, by the data. It has got that power to analyze it and predict the thing and work accordingly. That is what we understand.
Okay, great. Anybody else? Anybody else wants to answer this question at a very high level, right? Okay, I see a lot of silence here. So let me just give you my perspective. It's okay, it happens. Right?
Okay. And it's a beginning, so it is. Yes, everybody is a bit shying here.
Exactly. Not a problem. Okay, let me just give you my perspective, guys. 20 or 25 years back, when we used to do when we used to do masters and such things, we had a subject which is called as data mining. I'm sure that most of you have heard of what is called as data mining, right? In data mining, mainly there was a popular book which is called as Han and Campbell, right? That was a gold standard of data mining. And we used to learn a lot of interesting techniques like k-means cluster analysis, a priori. We used to learn about other interesting techniques like market basket analysis, cross-selling, RFM analysis, and such things. So why I'm speaking about data mining is because in today's day and age, we don't use the word data mining. In today's day and age, we use a phrase called as machine learning, right? So what earlier we used to call as data mining, in today's day and age, people refer to it as machine learning, right? Now, why machine? Where is the machine? What are we trying to learn? That's an obvious question here. And why is it that we keep changing the nomenclature from time to time, right? Firstly, in data science and artificial intelligence, we are not working in a very controlled environment. There is no body which regulates the nomenclature and such things. Any Tom, Dick and any Tom, Dick and Harry, any Jack, Jill and Mary who comes up with something new gives his own nomenclature and such things, right? He gives his own nomenclature, right? So because we are not working in a controlled environment. Secondly, to incorporate newer and newer meaning to old phrases, sometimes nomenclature changes are necessary. So when we speak about machine learning, a typical example of machine learning would be what is called as neural network. You might have heard of this. Another typical example of machine learning would be what is called as a priori algorithm or eclat algorithm. Nextly, we can also think of certain other techniques called as support vector machine. All of these things fall under the larger umbrella of machine learning. So much of the theory of machine learning was written not today, it was written back in 1930s and 40s. If you look at one of the earliest papers of machine learning by Hebb and Corpuscular, when he proposed what is called as the Hebb's corpuscular model, he proposed it in 1940s. So that is the motivation for us to start off with machine learning. So though the theory and such things were there for the last 70 or 80 years, from an application point of view, it did not make a move on because our desktops were very, very weak. In 1930s, you can imagine our computers were very, very weak. So till such time as our operationalizing capacity became very high, till such time as our desktop, our RAM became very, very powerful, we could not operationalize the theoretical aspects. Right? Therefore, machine learning. Those days, people, instead of calling this as desktop or laptops, we used to call them as machine. And through brute computational force, we would learn certain hidden patterns in the data set. And that business, that idea of learning hidden patterns in the data set is what is in today's day and age called as machine learning. So typically, when anybody says neural network, what should come to your mind is machine learning. Somebody says, sir, support vector machine and such things. Again, neural network. Again, if somebody says words like deep learning and may not be deep learning, but neural network, a priori, eclat algorithm, association rules, RFM analysis, recency frequency monitoring analysis, all these are examples of machine learning. Then we have another very close cousin of machine learning, which is called as deep learning, right? At the fundamental level, what we have within deep learning is nothing but neural network itself, right? So in neural network, what we have is basically you have what is called as the input layer, hidden layer, and the output layer. I will show this to you in detail in the third or fourth day, perhaps. So when you have an architecture which has input layer, hidden layer, and output layer, and to model very, very complex data, what you can do is basically use what is called as deep learning techniques, right? Deep, because if you have only one hidden layer, it is called a shallow network. If you have multiple hidden layers, you can call it as deep learning and such things. And the backbone of artificial intelligence is nothing but your deep learning. So today, if you're talking about, when we say artificial intelligence, please compare it with natural intelligence, right? Artificial intelligence is one thing, compare and contrast it with natural intelligence that we human beings have. So a typical example would be driverless car, right? If I have to drive, instead of having human beings drive the car, you have what is called as a smart car. Smart car is nothing but it's a car which has sensors fitted to it. And these sensors constantly grab images from the surrounding environment. And based on the distance of the image from the obstacle, based on the size of the obstacle, it tries to take a decision. Should it speed up? If there's an old woman who's crossing the road, maybe it should slow down. If there is a hump, it should reduce. If there is somebody trying to, if there's a dog sleeping, maybe you have to take a curvature. You have to take a curved road. So all these things, basically, we are imparting intelligence to a machine so that it can behave just like a human being. And at the back of your, at the back, as I already said, the backbone of artificial intelligence is nothing but your deep learning itself. So at a very high level, I've just given a 10,000 feet perspective about what is AI, what is machine learning and deep learning. Going forward in the next 5 days, I'll just try my best to, give you a closer perspective into each of these things so that it becomes a lot clearer. So far, am I making sense? Am I okay with what I'm saying? Am I very fast in my delivery? Is it okay? Am I making sense to people?
Yes. I think it's faster. It can be a bit, if
Slow,
you
okay.
just slow down
Sure.
so that
Definitely,
nobody misses anything. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. I'm going to share my screen. You can just let me know if you're able to share, if you're able to sort of see my screen, please. Please, right? Please let me know in case you're able to see the screen.
Yes, we are able to see your screen, sir.
Okay.
It's a linear regression. Yeah.
Yes, fantastic. So what I'm going to do now is basically to start off this procedure, we'll begin with the foundation of all machine learning techniques, which is called as linear regression, right? This is the mother of all techniques. Now, in day 1 and day 2, basically, that is today and tomorrow, basically, I just intend to give you a high level perspective about linear regression techniques. Day 3, day 4, maybe we can move on to non-linear techniques. In non-linear techniques, we can look at decision tree, we can look at some of the other techniques, so on and so forth. Okay, so first half an hour or something, it will be theory. And in the next 40-45 minutes, what I plan to do is show you practically how you can run a linear regression model very easily. Okay, so let's just look at a linear regression technique. Now, what exactly is linear regression technique? When we speak about linear regression technique, there are 2 or 3 points that you need to keep in mind. Firstly, it is what is called as supervised learning technique. I repeat, it is what is referred to as supervised learning technique. Now, what is the supervised learning technique, you may ask me? At a broad level, imagine that you have 3 different classes of techniques. It's an umbrella term. So when you get into AI machine learning, there are 3 different terminologies. What is called as supervised learning technique? The second one is what is called as unsupervised learning technique. And the third one is what is called as reinforcement learning. I will not be talking about reinforcement learning. Let's understand supervised learning technique. To put it in layman's language, supervised learning technique, when I say, when you have a dependent variable in the data set, that is a classic example of what is called as supervised learning technique. So give an example. Let us say I want to predict salary of a person. I'm taking a very simple example. Let us say I want to predict salary of employees. So salary depends upon certain factors. So salary is the dependent variable. What factors do you think salary is influenced by? It could be previous experience. It could be his beginning salary. It could be months since hire. It could be the job category that he is in. So all these are the independent variables which influences my dependent variable, which influences the dependent variable. That dependent variable here is nothing but salary, right? So those problems wherein you have a dependent variable, you can call as supervised learning technique. Similarly, if you go to market research organizations or marketing data, if you take, many times there's nothing called as demographic details. You just have, let us say, age of a person. You may have other details like previous experience. So age, demographic details, you have age, previous experience, what's his salary. Here, you are not trying to predict anything. You are just trying to group people as most profitable customers and least profitable customers. So if you are just looking at dividing the entire data into highly profitable, moderately profitable, or low profitable, there is no question of predicting anything. Therefore, it's called as unsupervised learning technique. So remember, supervised learning technique, you have a dependent variable like y equals mx plus c. Remember that equation, y is the dependent variable. In the case of unsupervised learning technique, there is no question of having a dependent variable. Is that point clear to you? If not, I don't mind repeating this once again. Is this point clear to you? What is supervised learning?
Yes, I think you can repeat it once again. So those who have not understood, they can just hear.
Yes. So what I'm saying is I'm beginning with linear regression. Linear regression is an example of what is called as supervised learning technique. Supervised itself means that I have a dependent variable. Unsupervised means you don't have dependent variable. You just have a set of variables. Now, why should you know this? Because linear regression, the technique that we are going to talk about today, has a dependent variable. We are interested in predicting certain factors. Let us say I gave the example of salary. Now, salary is one thing. Tomorrow, you may be interested in predicting the yield per hectare of land. What is the yield per hectare? So that is the variable of interest. How much yield am I getting? Now you can give me you can think of factors which influence the yield per hectare. What is it? The amount of fertilizers, the amount of pesticides, the amount of DAP that you put in the soil, or the amount of rainfall. All of these things have an impact on the yield per hectare. So yield per hectare is a dependent variable. So the moment you have a dependent variable in the data set, that is called as linear, that is called as the supervised learning technique. Sir, I don't have any dependent variable, I just have a set of independent variables. So then it is called as unsupervised learning technique. Excuse me, is this clear so far?
Yes, sir, it is clear. Yeah.
Any questions, please ask me. I don't mind repeating it. Is this point clear as to what is the difference between supervised and unsupervised learning technique?
Anyone else who is listening can confirm whatever.
Please feel free to ask questions. This is we can keep it interactive, right? If you can keep it interactive, it will be beneficial to you. Otherwise, if it's a monologue wherein only I am speaking, it will be very boring and you'll not be able to appreciate anything, right?
Yes, yes.
We are understanding.
Understood, sir. It is
Okay,
understood.
fantastic.
Yes,
fantastic.
sir.
Fantastic.
There is independent variable and dependent variable. When there are anything which we want to predict, it is supervised one.
Yes.
Like,
Exactly. You're right, madam. Yes. Now, the second point I'm coming here, it tries to quantify the relationship between dependent and one or more of the independent variables, which are supposedly linearly correlated, right? So the operative word here is dependency. For the first time, I'm very sort of cleverly introducing a mathematical terminology, dependent variable. So the moment you think of linear regression, remember, ask yourself a counter question. Where is the dependent variable? Where is my outcome variable, right? Some people call this as dependent variable. In today's day and age, people call this as target variable, right? People call this as target variable, or sometimes people also refer to this as response variable. You can use any of these terminology, but in the data set, if you have a dependent variable, and you can have either one independent variable or you can have multiple independent variables. If you have one independent variable or multiple independent variables, you can call it as you are essentially doing what is called as linear regression. So this is the first slide that I had. I hope there are no questions. If there are no questions, I'll make a move on to the second slide. Can I make a move on to the second slide, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, sir, what is this mathematical background? Now, I'm sure that you would have all learned, you have all seen this equation. Y is equal to B naught plus B1 x1 plus B2 x2 plus B3 x3. So this is how a linear regression model will look like. You can clearly see here Y. It is standing very proudly to the left-hand side. Right, this y is nothing but my dependent variable. So this is how a linear regression model appears, wherein I have y, which is the dependent variable. Sir, what about this x1, x2, x3? x1, x2, x3 are all my independent variables. Sir, then what about this b naught? B naught is what is called as intercept term, and then you have b naught is intercept term. B1, because it is close to the first independent variable, it is called as the rate coefficient. It is simply called as the coefficient of x1. So for example, let me just give you a very simple example. Let us say you're trying to predict sales of cars. correct? So since I'm saying predict sales of car, sales is nothing but your dependent variable. Do you all agree? Sales is the dependent variable. And what is your X1? X1 may be price of the vehicle, correct? Now, next to price, when you build a linear regression model, you will get what is called as B1. B1 is nothing but the coefficient of price, right? You can expect a negative number for the coefficient of price because as price increases, sales comes down. There is an inverse relationship. So there may be a number 3 or 4 or 5. I do not know. We should predict it from the data. Correct. So because we are going to predict this, this is called as a predictive equation or a predictive model. So our job as data scientists is to find out what is the value of B1, what is the value of B2, what is the value of B3, which has to be estimated, which has to be learned from the data set. So far it is clear. I'm just showing you what is there under the equation. This is what I have under the equation. So far it's clear, guys?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so you have y equals b0 plus b1 x1 plus b2 x2. So there are many techniques which are used, right? So one popular technique when we speak about linear regression is what is called as OLS technique. Remember this OLS. What is this OLS? OLS stands for ordinary least squares method. You don't need to remember all these terminologies because today the software has become so powerful that it itself will find out at the back end and give us the value of B0, B1, B2, B3. I'll show you this in a few moments. I'm now looking at the purpose of linear regression. Sir, why should I waste my time studying linear regression and all? What is the purpose behind this? Can you please tell me the purpose? So let us look at the purpose. So in linear regression, the purpose behind linear regression is to estimate the coefficients B0, B1, and B2 that provides the least error of prediction. So to just refresh, I had written this equation B0 plus B1 x1 plus B2 x2 plus B3 x3. Our goal is to estimate from the data B0, B1, B2, B3 in such a way that the error is least. I don't want a high error because remember, we are trying to predict. How are we trying to predict? We are trying to predict based on historical data. My error should be as low as possible. Sir, how low is good? Lower the better, right? So when I talk about the purpose behind linear regression, remember the entire goal behind linear regression is to estimate these coefficients that provide the least rate of prediction. So far it is clear, guys? Am I making sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me just make a move on. Now there are two types of linear regression. Okay, there are different types of linear regression. One is what is called as simple linear regression, and the second one is called as multiple linear regression. Let us look at the first adjective, simple. What is the simple linear regression? It is called a simple linear regression because there is only one independent variable. I repeat, there is only one independent variable. Therefore, it is called a simple linear regression. Right? For example, I just gave a few moments back, I said you're trying to predict sales using only price. Right? Theoretically, yes, you can do it. Price is only one independent variable. So if you have only one independent variable, it is called a simple linear regression. So many times, instead of having only one independent variable, you can have multiple independent variables. Like you have price, you can have product features, you can have discount, you can have sales of the last quarter, you can have sales of the previous quarter, you can have a whole lot of factors. And realistically speaking, it is better that we have multiple variables. And when we have multiple variables, the technique is called as multiple linear regression. So in multiple linear regression, I've got more than one independent variable. Okay, so these are the two types. Yes, please.
Sir, here in PPT, both the definitions have single variable, single independent variable.
You have only one. You're absolutely right. My apologies. So this is wrong. You have, it is not only one. You have multiple independent variables. Sorry, I stand corrected. Right, this is wrong. It is multiple independent variables. Well spotted. Yeah. Okay, I hope the larger point is clear to you.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Now let's look at, can I apply linear regression however I want? No, you can't. There are certain prerequisites behind the data. So what are these prerequisites? That's what I'm telling you. Most important prerequisite here is that the dependent variable must and should be numerical or continuous. I repeat, it should be numerical variable or continuous. Sir, what is this numeric variable and continuous? Just to give you a simple example, the variable which has units is called as numeric variable. For example, sales can be measured in dollars or rupees. Temperature can be measured in Kelvin scale. Weight can be measured in kgs. Height can be measured in feet. So all these variables, wherever you have units, can be called a scale variable, or you can simply call it as numerical or continuous variable. So some of the examples are, let's say you're trying to predict sales, or you're trying to predict GDP, or you're trying to predict unemployment rate, or you're trying to predict pollution level, or you're trying to predict, let's say, amount of rainfall. All of these variables, if you have any of these variables as the dependent variable, you can use a linear regression model. Let us say you're trying to predict whether a person is a fraud or not, right? In a banking setup, whether a person is fraud or not. Will India win the match or not? Yes or no, right? There, the outcome variable is only binary, yes, no, right? Yes, no, whether it rains or it does not rain. High risk customer, low risk customer. There we can't use linear regression. That is the main point that I'm trying to highlight. Now let's focus on independent variables. Here, when it comes to independent variable, it can be either numerical or categorical. However, there is a caveat, there is a warning. That is, if you have a categorical variable, that has to be dummy coded before we can use these variables to build a regression model. And to build a regression model, we use a library which is called as scikit-learn, or simply sklearn library of Python. So this is what we tend to do in linear regression. Dependent has to be, it must and should be scale. Independent can be either scale or numerical. Is this point clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Let me just make a move on. So some examples where we can use linear regression. The first example is basically, let's say you want to predict the sales amount of a car company. I'm just giving the example of car company. It can be any product. If you want to predict the sales as a function of, let's say, number of models, new models, price, discount, GDP, interest rate, unemployment rate, competitive prices, all these are my independent variables which influences the sales amount. So this is a classic example wherein you can use linear regression. So give me another example. Let's say you're in healthcare and you want to predict the weight gain or loss of a person as a function of, let's say, calorie intake, junk food, genetics, exercise time, intensity, sleep, festival time, diet plans, medicine, so on and so forth. All these independent variables can be used to predict weight loss or weight gain, which is a scale dependent variable. So here again, linear regression comes into picture. What about the third one? Let us say you want to predict the housing price of a particular city, right? Housing price or price of any particular product as a function of square foot or number of rooms or interest rate or parking or pollution level, distance from city center, population mix, so on and so forth. This again can be modeled using what is called as linear regression. Okay, the fourth example is basically a macroeconomic example that I've taken. So you can see here GDP growth rate you want to model as a function of unemployment rate in a nation, inflation, investment, new business, weather pattern, resources and population. Here again, you can use linear regression. So these are the four examples that I have. Is this clear so far? Am I making sense to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mithun, yeah, if you can repeat it once, so those who are not responding, at least they will understand. Yeah, some part of it you can. Yeah.
Yes. So all that I'm saying is, remember 2 or 3 points, guys. Linear regression comes into picture when you have a scale dependent variable. Whenever you have a scale dependent variable, you can use linear regression. So some examples of linear regression are when you're trying to model sales. Is sales a scale variable, guys? Can somebody answer this question? Can we call sales as a scale variable or a numerical variable?
Sale is a numerical.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So can I use, so since it is numerical, can I use linear regression there?
Yes.
Yes, yes, right. So if the dependent variable is scale, use linear regression. Many cases, the dependent variable may not be scale. A person takes a home loan. First 3 months he pays, next month he may default. So against each customer, you have a flag variable, whether he's a defaulter or non-defaulter. So there, can I use linear regression to model fraud behavior or default behavior, so on and so forth?
No.
Right, I can't use that. So, that's the main point here with linear regression. The dependent variable has to be scale. So with that in background, I'm giving you some examples like sales amount of a car company. Next is basically predicting weight loss. Next is predicting housing price. Next one is predicting GDP growth rate. All these are examples of your linear regression. Okay. Now, I'm just slightly going to a technical area. So I've used the word model. Model means mathematical equation. So when you're using a linear regression, what is the guarantee that the equation that you've got is good or bad? So to understand whether the equation is good or bad, there are certain conditions or criteria. It is like if a patient goes to the hospital, how does it say whether the patient is healthy or unhealthy? Maybe he looks at the temperature. If the temperature is around 97.8, usually it is considered as he's healthy, right? Then at a more serious level, he may look at your creatinine level. What is your red blood cells, RBC count, WBC count, right? What is your testosterone, so on and so forth. There are certain threshold, right? These threshold basically says whether a person is healthy or unhealthy. The same way, are there certain conditions, are there certain criteria based on which I can say whether my model is good or bad? So these are called as model diagnostics. So in the case of linear regression, I want to introduce you to three concepts. Most important concepts. First one is what is called as MSE, mean square error. This metric we can look at, right? So usually if it is close to 0, it means that the linear regression model is a good model. If this value is close to 1, it means that the model is a bad model and therefore you cannot trust it and hence use it. First model diagnostic is mean square error. What is the second one? Second one is called as MAPE. Some people call this as MAPE. Mean absolute percentage error. This again should be close to 0. If it is close to 0, the model is good, else your model is bad. Last one is basically what is called as R square. R square is popularly called as R. The letter R here is Pearson's correlation coefficient, Carl Pearson's correlation coefficient, right? If you get the Carl Pearson's correlation coefficient and just take a square of it, let's say you get 4, you'll not get 4, you'll get in terms of decimals, 0.4. You just take a square of 0.4, it becomes 0.16. So that 0.16 is your R square. It is popularly called as coefficient of determination. I repeat, most important concept here is coefficient of determination. This value always lies between 0 and 1. If your R square is close to 1, you can congratulate yourself because it means that the model is good. On the other hand, if the R square is close to 0, it means that the model is bad. Is that clear?
Yes.
So far you're clear? So these 3 points you can just keep in mind. So typically when we build a model, how do we build a model? So this is the conceptual map, right? So you can see here, don't be intimidated. Please don't be scared. I'll just explain this. So you have historical data, which you are calling as base data. split the data as two parts, training data and test data. Now, any idea why should I split the source data into two portions, training data and test data?
We have to test our model on training data. We have to
Yes.
train our model on
Yes.
training data.
Yes.
And once it is trained, we have to test it on the unknown test data.
Very good, very good. It's like, a child. Let's say you have a child at home. You're teaching the child mathematics. So let's say algebra exam is there. Out of 10 problems, you teach your child 7 problems, right? A plus b the whole square is what? A minus b the whole square is what? A plus b the whole cube is what? These are the 7 things that you teach. Now, after teaching 7 things, what is the guarantee that the child has learned? So the balance 3 problems which you had set aside in the textbook, you will give it as a test to the child and assess the performance of the child on the test data. If the child is doing well in new cases, it means that the child has learned the pattern well. So instead of child, you can just think of it as a model. What is model at the end of the day? It is just a mathematical equation. It's a brainless, dead mathematical formulation. What is the guarantee that that mathematical formulation is working? To know that, we divide the data into 70 and 30. 70% will be used to train, right? Just as we trained our child to learn 70% of the characteristics, right? Algebra problems, 7 problems we are giving it so that it can learn. Once it has learned, then basically its brain is now filled with mathematical formula. So this is the model. Right now, this model, what is this model? Y is equal to b1 plus b0 plus y is equal to b0 plus b1 x1 plus b2 x2. That is the mathematical model, right? You push this training data into that equation. The equation basically gives you the output. That output you apply on the test data, fresh data. You compare the actual and the predicted. And if there is a huge gap, it means that the model is poor. If there is a small gap, it means that the model is actually doing a good job. How do you assess it? I've just now told you R squared is a good metric. So far, are you clear? Are you able to understand?
Yes, sir. So just for understanding, because many people are there,
Yes, yes.
they are understanding this particular subject first time.
Yes.
Is there any reason behind this dividing data into 70-30, or you can have 60-40, or you can have 75?
Very good question. Very good question. So the 70-30 is the our convenience. Traditionally, people have divided to 70-30. We use the same thing. You're free to use 60-40 or 80-20. Now, just remember, let's say you have a small sample size. You have a very, very small sample size. In that case, there is no use taking 60% for training, because you'll be, first of all, the data is small. You're making it even smaller by taking only 60% for training. Correct? There, I would rather have a 80-20 split. It is entirely under my control. It is the researcher's call. How much you want? You can have 80-20 or 90-20. On the other hand, let's say I have got 10,000 records. 10,000 is a healthy sample. There, I don't mind having a 60-40 split, because 60% means basically 6,000 records will be used for training and 4,000 records will be used for testing. 6,000 is a healthy sample size for me to train the model. So there is no hard and fast rule that it should always be 70-30. It can be 75-25. It can be 80-20, 90-10. It can be anything. The user is the boss here. It is his call. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Am I okay with this? Or if anybody wants me to explain this once again, I don't mind explaining this.
It is fine, sir. Perfect.
It is fine. Okay. Okay, now what I want to do is, with your permission, can I show some of these things in Python so that you get a feel of it? I think later I don't mind sharing the codes and all with my audience. I can just show you how linear regression works at a very high level with your permission. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Because I don't want it to be very dry, wherein I'm just talking. You're just seeing the, you're just looking at the, you're just looking at the screen. But what is the practical application you might not understand. Therefore, I'm just showing this to you. So let me just share my screen for a moment. Just give me 1 second, please. Okay, enough of PowerPoint. Now, what I'll be doing is basically I will be showing you what is called as Jupyter Notebook, which is nothing but an interface, of Python, right? So you can see here, this is how Jupyter Notebook gets fired up. It works as a browser. So in a browser, you can just open this up. I can just click on new, and click on Python 3. So third version is what I'm using. So can you see this Python, guys? Can you see this Python interface?
Yes.
So this is the place wherein I can just insert cells and type my codes. Okay. So I'll just take you through a small example here so that you can just understand what is linear regression, how we perform linear regression and such things. Let me just quickly look at the codes here. Okay, I think I have to download the codes once again. Just give me 1 second, please. In the meanwhile, any question you have, please ask me. Okay, I just found the file. Okay. Okay, I'm just sharing my screen once again so that I can just show you the data set. This is the data set that I have. Please tell me if you can see the screen. Are you able to see the screen?
Yeah.
So this is a data set wherein I'm just showing this to you in a spreadsheet so that it's easy for you to understand. So you can see here, let me just zoom this in. So we have data about Boston. Boston is a place in USA. So they have taken this real life data. So there's nothing cooked up about this. So in different localities of Boston, they have gone and they've looked at what is the crime rate. There are another variables called as ZN, industrial percentage, which means basically the number of industries. I think I'll just quickly find out and tell you whether the Charles River is flowing or not. NOx is the next variable, which means nitric oxide content. RM is basically the number of rooms, age, so on and so forth. But mostly what I'm interested in is the last variable, which is called as MEDV or median value of the house. So I'm trying to predict what is median value of the houses in Boston area. So what can you say when you look at this variable MEDV? Can you tell me something? I'm interested in understanding which all factors drive median value of the house. So which factor do you think influences median value of the house? Which factor do you think influences the median value of the house, please? Very difficult to predict. Now, looking at this data set, we can't. But at least can I say that since I'm predicting median value, this is my dependent variable? Can we agree that this is my dependent variable?
Yes.
So is this a categorical variable or a numerical variable?
It's numerical.
It is definitely numeric. So my dependent variable is numerical. So can I go ahead and confidently model this variable using linear regression? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this data set to show you linear regression. Let me close this file firstly. Okay. I will go to Python now. Right. Okay, where is Python? Okay, this is the cell, correct? This is the place wherein we can just code, right? And we can type the codes and get the output. So, okay, let me just import certain libraries which will help me sort of build my model, right? Nothing. There are three libraries which are called as NumPy. Next is Pandas. Import this from, this is import, okay. There is nothing here. You can just see here. I'm just saying import NumPy as MP. NumPy is basically the foundational package. It's NumPy, Python for numbers. Whenever you're dealing with any numbers, square root, addition, multiplication, subtraction, matrix multiplication, if you want to do any of these things, NumPy is the package. Then on top of it, you have what is called as Pandas. Pandas is very useful if you want to merge the data set, if you want to add new columns and such things. And if you want to do machine learning, scikit-learn or sklearn is what you need to use. So therefore, I am importing these three libraries. Okay. So once I import, what is the next thing that I need to do? The next thing that I need to do is just to tell Python that it's okay to print multiple lines of code. Otherwise, Python will just show you the last code. If you have done addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, 4 codes you have written, the latest code is division. So Python will display only the division code. It will not display the earlier code. So this is a small snippet of code. Don't worry too much about the code. Understand what the algorithm is doing, right? So now what I'm going to do is very interesting. Look at this. I'll just tell you. This is very important. You can see here from sklearn, import data sets. sklearn is your machine learning library. So there are inbuilt data sets, which is what I'm trying to import. Datasets dot load underscore Boston. This will load the file. Boston file will be loaded and it will be saved as an object. So what are the feature names? If I execute this, you can see here crime rate, zinc, Zn, sorry, and Indus. So these are all the names of the variables it is displaying. Okay, so one request that I have, it is raining heavily in near my house, so slightly power shift may be there. In case I get disconnected, please don't worry. In 2 minutes, I'll just join back. Okay, so far it is clear what I'm doing.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm just displaying the field names. Okay. Okay, now this description of the file is what I want to show, right? Very simple print statement I'm just showing. You can see here, what is this file all about? You can see here, sample size is 506. There are 13 variables. Median value of the house is what people choose as the target. You can see some of the description of the variables like crime rate, per capita crime rate by town. What is the age? Means proportion of owner occupied units built prior to 1940. This is nothing but the description of the variable. There's one more variable called as B, which is nothing but the proportion of blacks by town, and L stat is their percentage of lower stat of population, right? And the last variable medv is my dependent variable, right? So this is a data set which has been created by who? By two famous individuals known as Harrison D and Rubinfeld, right? Rubinfeld, right? So I'll be using this data set. Let us go ahead. Let us not spend too much time in these things. Okay, now let me just display the data set. Look at this. So import pandas as PD. PD.dataframe. Data frame is nothing but a spreadsheet like view. So in Python, the data set appears like this. See here how beautiful it is. Very easy to visualize and understand. So you're familiar with this data set. Yeah, I'm just displaying the first 5 rows in the data set, right? Same variables, crime rate, Zn, Indus, Chas, so on and so forth. These are the independent variables that I have. Where is my dependent variable? It is not there. I will just very quickly show you the dependent variable as well. You can just see here Boston.target. Target means dependent variable. What is the target which we are trying to predict? Housing price. So I want to display the housing price as well. Now you can see a new variable, namely housing price is displayed. These are the first 5 rows of the data set, correct? So there is a command here in Python which is called as describe function, right? Very important, describe function. What does this give you? This gives you the entire summary statistics: count, mean, standard deviation, minimum, 25th percentile, 50th percentile, 75th percentile, and maximum. So for each variable, it is displaying the summary statistics. What is the sample size? What is the average crime rate? 3.6. What is the standard deviation? What is the minimum? Right, and what is the maximum? So far, is it clear to everybody what we are doing? We have just now imported the data set, and we are looking at some basic statistics like what is mean, standard deviation, minimum, so on and so forth. Is it clear to everybody?
Yes.
Any questions you have, please ask. Please ask.
Yes,
Please ask
Mithun,
any-
if you can explain about data once again, the data which you're using. So
Yes. So I'll go at the top. The data that I'm using is called as Boston housing data set. So in USA, there's a place called as Boston. And in this city, let's say in Bangalore, you have different layouts. HSR layout is there, Jayanagar is there, Indira Nagar is there, and then you have Majestic. All these are areas. So what they have done is they've taken 10 or 15 sample houses, and they've calculated the average housing price. Let's say HSR layout may have 100 homes. I don't need to look at all 100 homes. They may have gone to 10 homes and they've looked at what is the price. So you have 10 values. Then they're taking the average price of each of these homes. So that average price in Boston City, they are calling as MEDV. MEDV means median value of owner occupied homes, and it is expressed in dollar thousands. Sir, why is this important? This is important because this is my dependent variable. So we are trying to predict what are the factors which influence the dependent variable. So median value. So what are the factors which are likely to influence? You can see crime rate may influence. So if the crime rate is high, usually my median value of the homes and all will be lesser, right? Similarly, if the number of rooms is higher, RM is rooms. Number of rooms, let's say 7 rooms or 8 rooms, bigger homes will command higher price. Similarly, percentage of black population, right? I don't like to say this, but in USA and such things, there's a perception that those areas wherein you have a higher percentage of black population, usually crime rate and such things are higher. If the crime rate is higher, nobody wants to stay there, so price will come down. LSTAT means percentage of lower status of the population. If the lower state of population is higher, basically maybe there is more crime rate and such things. We do not know, we have to estimate it. Next, we have NOx, nitric oxide concentration. If the nitric oxide concentration is high, which means pollution is high, price will come down. So far, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear to everybody?
yes, it's clear, sir.
Okay, so we just imagine that we are trying to predict the housing price based on crime rate, pollution level, and certain other factors. Very simple description.
You're not audible, Mithun.
I told now there is heavy raining. He will join.
Yes, that is, yeah, man.
There is heavy raining in Bangalore.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. You're audible now.
You were lost in between for a few minutes, so please repeat it if you.
Am I audible, sir, to everybody?
Now you are audible, but you are not audible for last couple of minutes.
Hello?
Hello. Can you hear us? Hello.
Mithun, can you hear us?
Shukla sir, put it in chat.
Yes, Mithun.
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
You are audible. You were lost for a couple of minutes, so please
Yes,
repeat
sir.
it.
Yes, yes. No, I didn't say anything, sir. I just because I was not audible, I just clicked on the link and joined back again. That's it. I didn't speak
Okay,
anything.
okay.
Okay,
So we were describing the variables.
yes, I'm just doing a dot core off so that I can get a correlation map from this. Okay, now this correlation map, if I just type X here, see here, there are so many numbers that you are able to see. So this is the correlation map, right? There is so much of correlation. Correlation lies between -1 and +1. It is not very easy to understand because we have 13 variables. So what I will do is basically I will just do a heat map. I'm just going to do a heat map so that it is very easy for us to understand. Are you able to see this heat map? Can you see this heat map, please?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
it is visible.
Okay. So wherever you see, I'm looking at the last variable, housing price. Wherever you see dark green color cell, it means that there is a strong positive correlation. And wherever you see a negative red color cell, it means that there's a strong negative correlation. So it means that if you look at variables like room, ZN, P, that is percentage of black population, there is a positive correlation. If you look at some of the others, basically like LSTAT and NOx content and crime rate, there is a red color cell for housing price, which means that these variables have a negative correlation with housing price. So dark green color cell means positive correlation, dark red color cells means negative correlation. So what we are doing is what is called as exploratory data analysis. We are trying to explore the data set. Am I audible and am I clear so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now it's a question of just collecting my X and Y. Y is the dependent variable and X is the independent variable. So look at X here. When I say X here, except my median value of housing price, every other variable is there, right? I'm separating X and Y. Is this clear, everybody?
Can you repeat once again?
So I'm just saying X dot head off. In X, you have a matrix from crime rate to LSTAT, but median value is not there.
Your screen. Yeah, now, yours. Yeah, now it is visible.
Yes. So when I say X, only independent variables will be taken in X, and in Y only the median value of the house is taken. So I'm separating the X and the Y. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Good.
Okay. What about the others? Others are getting it. Others are able to understand. I'm just separating X and Y before I feed it into the linear regression model.
Mithun, please repeat it once again. So if anybody is having doubt.
Okay, see here. From crime rate to lower strata of population, all these are the independent variables. Therefore, when I'm just typing X dot head of X is nothing but my independent variable. See here, only you have crime rate, ZN up to LSTAT, but median value is dropped from the variable. Why is it dropped? Median value is appearing as Y here because I'm separating X and Y. You can see here, this is the median value. Now you can see this column will be used as the dependent variable. So all I'm doing is basically separate the independent and the dependent variable. Separate the independent variable, put it as an object X. And when you have separated the dependent variable, put it as an object Y. That's it. Is this clear?
I think if you scroll out 13, people can see it more.
Yeah, now.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is my Y. Only first 5 records are basically displayed for the dependent variable. You can see here name is housing price. So far, is it clear?
Yes.
What about the others? Is it clear?
Yes.
Are you able to understand? So far, is it clear, sir and madam?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I've just separated it. What is the next step? Let us move on to the next step. The next step in the analysis is, let me just show you this. 1 second. Okay, I've done the heat map, everything. Now this is very important. What is the next step? See here, the next step is to split the training and the data testing data set. So what we want to do is basically create the training and the test data set. So can you see here the function train underscore test underscore split? We are using this function on my X as well as Y. The size of the test is 30%, and we will be creating 4 objects. Train underscore X, which means the training independent variable. X is independent variable. Test underscore X is for the test data set independent variable. Train underscore Y is for the training data set dependent variable, and test underscore Y is for the test data set, the dependent variable. So this is how we are splitting the data set into train and test. This is the most important step, wherein 70% is taken into train and 30% is taken into test. Am I making myself clear here? Any questions, please ask here. Please look at this. This is the function train underscore test underscore split that is applied on my independent and dependent variable, so that 30% goes into testing, remaining 70% goes into training data set. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear? Yes or no? This is the most crucial step, guys, right? So what I'm actually telling you here is nothing but what I have done in the PowerPoint. See here, the base data we have to split as training and test. How is it getting split? Using this wonderful and interesting function, train underscore test underscore split. This literally splits the data set into training and testing. Is this clear, guys? Is this clear, everybody?
Yes, it is clear, but there is one question.
Yes, please ask.
Sir, while splitting this data into training and testing, this data will be selected randomly, na? Randomly,
Yes.
70 will, yeah.
Yes, it's a random split. So
Right.
you can see here train underscore X dot shape. If you see here, there are 354 records only in train. Why 354? Do you recall what is the original sample size? The original sample size is 506 multiplied by 70%, 0.7. If I do, right, I don't need to do equal to here. Python can be used. You can see here 354. So 70% of 506 is nothing but 354. Therefore, 354 records are in training. Is this clear now?
Yes, yes.
Now the same thing, if I just look at the shape of test data set, test underscore X, how much is there? You can see here 152. Why 152? 30%. 30 means 0.3 of the original sample size is 506, right? If I multiply this, okay, so this is not 30. You're right. I was right. So 30% of 506 is 151. You can see here the test sample is 152. So that's the way we are splitting the train and test as 70% and 30%. So far it is clear?
Yes.
Okay, so my data set, everything is ready. Now what I have to do is run the model. How to run the model? Very simple. First, before running the model, we use a word which is called as instantiate, right? This is called as instantiate the linear regression model. Instantiate the linear regression model. This is my instantiation procedure. So from sklearn.linear regression model, you are going to import linear regression. Instead of typing such a big word, we are going to compress it and use just 2 letters LM, which means linear model. No need of typing this entire big word again and again. So we are going to use LM function. LM is nothing but my linear regression model. So now look at this. For the first time, I'm building the model. That procedure of building is called as fit. So lm.fit within parentheses, I'm writing train underscore x and train underscore y. Okay. I'm just training the model. Okay, after training what, sir? After training, we have to predict. How to predict? Use the predict function. So lm.predict of test. Look at this. You are predicting on the test data set. So training happens on the training data set, but applying the model happens on the test data set. And I'm saving the object as predict underscore test underscore LM. Sir, what is the use of all these things? Let us see what is the use of all these things. So if you look at the coefficient of each of the independent variables, you can see here there are 13 different. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 into 3, 12, 12 plus 1 is 13. So you're getting some crazy numbers. We are not able to make sense because the feature names are not there. I will attach the feature name and show the same thing, right? Let me just show you what each.
Mithun, you're not audible.
Okay, are you able to hear me, sir? Are
Yes,
you able
sir.
to hear me, sir? Yes. I'm just opening Jupyter Notebook. Okay.
Your screen is not visible.
Yeah, I'm just sharing the screen. Just 1 second, please. Is the screen visible now?
Not yet, but it is, I think, coming. Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Can you see this now, sir?
yeah, now it is visible.
Yes. So each of the independent variables like pollution, NOx, you can see the coefficient. Correct? So are you able to see the coefficient for NOx? It is minus 21.
Yes. Yes.
Any idea
minus
what is this
minus.
minus 21?
That is the fraction.
Yes, that is your beta 1 value, which I was showing in the PowerPoint. So how do I interpret this 21? Minus 21 is that it's not plus. It means that if the nitric oxide content in air increases by 1%, the housing price will come down by $21,000.
Right.
Right? If the housing, if the nitric oxide content increases by 1%, which means pollution is higher and therefore the price of the house will come down by $21,000. I hope this is making sense.
Right.
Now let me
Yes.
just look at another example, another variable. Like this, you can understand which one is having a positive impact and which is having a negative impact. The last variable is RM, which means number of rooms. Understandably, the coefficient is 2.7, which means if the number of rooms increase in a house, the housing price goes up by 2.7, which means $2,700. That is how it has a, that is how this output can be interpreted. Are you able to understand this?
Yes, sir. But sir, I have a question.
Please tell me.
Yeah, sir. Normally, when we started with this, we started with the data mining.
Yes.
And yeah, we assume that in data mining we get the non-trivial this thing variables which are affecting the data. So
Correct.
as far as this room is concerned, yeah, means just from this data we can see that the size of the room is depending upon the size of the room or the number of rooms, the price of the house is increasing. But can we consider this as one of the variable, because it is a known, which is based on our general what do you call
Exactly.
observation.
Some of these, yes, you don't need data mining. It's a matter of common sense.
Right.
So we can actually drop this variable. If it is so obvious, we don't need this variable at all. We can drop it. We don't need to take it at all. Actually, what you're asking is a very profound question. Which variable should I take while building a model? If you are already 100% sure that variables like room and such things are anyway having a positive effect, don't take it into the model at all.
Yes.
So we are interested in modeling. Remember this word, there's a word called as uncertainty. If there is uncertainty, then the machine learning model comes into picture. If there is already certainty, a priori, even before running a model, I know that room size and such things are having a positive impact, then there is no need for you to build a model.
Yes.
Only when there is uncertainty in the decision making, please use machine learning, else don't use it.
True.
Okay, so let me just make a move on. I'll show you some of the other things. So if you want, we can just show the same coefficients in the form of a bar chart. Same thing. Whatever I'm showing now, I'm just trying to show a bar chart. So the length of the bar indicates the magnitude of impact. So you can see here, this is 0. Only few variables are above 0, which means that these variables are having a positive impact. Sir, can you show them, sir? Let me just zoom out. You can see here last 3 variables like presence of Charles River, number of rooms. These are the variables which have a positive impact. Now, the variable which has the largest negative impact is this first variable, which is nitric oxide. So which means that the biggest negative impactor contributor is basically what is called as nitric oxide. So to put this in a larger perspective, when we do machine learning, there are 3 purposes. One is what is called as contribution analysis. Contribution means basically you have a set of variables and you want to find out what is the contribution of each of these variables in influencing the dependent variable. So that is what we are trying to study in this particular coefficients table. Nitric oxide has a negative contribution, right? crime rate has a negative contribution. Other variables may have a positive impact. So one is contribution analysis. Secondly, you can also do what is called as concentration analysis for like cluster analysis and such things. Thirdly, you can do anomaly detection and such things. That is for fraud and such things, right? Contribution, concentration, anomaly, or deviation analysis. So the kind of analysis that you're seeing in front of your screen is an example of contribution analysis. So let me just keep this conversation going. Now the big thing, one stage is over wherein I have built the model, right? So this is the end of model building. This is the end of model building, right? There is nothing else to do, right? We have built the model, job done. One stage is over, right? So this is the end of model building. After model building, what should we do? We should look at model diagnostics. Is this model good, bad, or not good? To do this, what I will be doing is basically showing you what is called as R squared. R squared, can anybody tell me what is R squared? Anybody?
To
What is
test
R squared?
whether the model is.
Yes, but there is a technical word. There is a technical phrase. We use a very important word for it.
Coefficient.
Regression.
Sorry?
Correlation coefficient square.
No, whoever is giving wrong answer, they should, pay 5,000. And if you don't answer, you should pay 10,000.
Yes, yes. We have the reward for those who are participating, so we are going to give them the rewards, and that will be given during physical classes. Yeah.
I am the most participating thing, sir. So you should give me the award.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll give you.
So remember, guys, when you are doing R square, you cannot forget this, guys. In this entire discussion that we have had today, if you remember what is R square, I will consider this class as successful. If you forget R square, this entire exercise that we are talking about is a failure. R square is the technical word for it is COD, coefficient of determination. I repeat, coefficient of determination. R square stands for coefficient of determination. If this value is close to 1, preferably greater than 0.7, it means that the model fits the data well.
It's good.
On the other hand, if the R square value is less than 0.7, it means that the model does not fit the data well. Right? So here, right? So when I'm saying R square here, right? So let me write this. This is called as coefficient of determination. This is called as coefficient of determination. So what is your, see, the R square value for test data is 78.36. So what can you say when you look at 78.36, guys?
Model is good.
Yes. In other words, what does it mean? Right? Please understand this. Right? Please pay attention. I request you to pay attention. 78.36 means 78% of the variation in housing price of Boston City can be explained by the set of independent variables that we have taken. I repeat, 78% of the variation in the dependent variable, namely housing price, can be explained by the set of independent variables. The remaining 22% is not explained by the model. 22%. Why is it not explained? Because price and such things are a very complex metric. If you actually think of it, see, price of housing depends upon government policies also, right? Are they giving home loan at a cheaper rate or at a very expensive rate, right? Are people basically employed or unemployed? What is the interest rate? What is the level of EMI? We have not taken any of these factors in the model. So other factors also have a contribution, but since we have not taken this into account, they are basically unexplained. So unexplained portion is 22%. 78% is the explained portion. So far, is it clear? This is the quality of the model.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, yeah. it's
Just
clear.
remember, in 2 hours of discussion that we have had, just remember 2 points. Linear regression is used to model scale dependent variable. That is the first point that you should remember. Second factor is basically R square tells you the quality of the model. If R square is greater than 0.7, model is good. Less than 0.7, model is bad. If you remember these 2 sentences, it means that by and large linear regression is clear to you.
Yes, sir.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, as R square itself is sufficient, but just for curiosity's sake, if you want to look at some of the other metrics, you can do that as well, right? So you can see here R square. I'm doing this on trained data set. In training, I'm getting 71%. In testing, I'm getting 78%. Why, sir? What does it mean? See, if in the training and the testing, if the R square is very close to each other, it means that the model is consistent. On the other hand, if in the training and the testing, the R square is not close to each other, it means that the model is not robust. It means that the model is not strong, and therefore we don't use such a model. In training, imagine that you are getting 92%, and in testing, you are getting 75%. So 92 and 75, basically, the difference is basically around 18%. We don't use such a model. It is like a child in your home. When you give it a test, he has mugged up everything. He has got 100 out of 100. But when you are basically testing him in the final examination, he is getting 63 out of 100, which means that his learning is not proper. That is the message that you need to infer. So make sure that these numbers are very close to each other. So far, am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me just make a move on. What do I have? R square I've shown you. Now, apart from R square, if you remember, you have other metrics which are called as model diagnostics. This is not important, right? Nobody will ask you, but R square is the most important. Don't forget that. You can also look at mean square error, which is 19.83. I will not pay too much of attention to this. It is just an academic exercise to show you. So I'll be showing you this, but don't worry too much about MSC, mean square error. Remember that mean square error should be low. But you can never forget what your R square. The third metric is MSC on the test data is 3.34. MSC here, yeah. So I think here's the test data itself. So this is test underscore Y and test underscore LM. It should be means. First is mean square error. Second one is mean absolute error. So I'm sorry, the second one is mean absolute error. Okay, so you can't call this as MSC. This is a mistake. You have to call this as MAE, mean absolute error. So the second metric is mean absolute error. The first one is mean square error. But for all practical purposes, keep R square in your mind. That is good enough. Okay, what else do I have? Okay, I have shown you some important statistics. Now, your regression is what is called as, very important. It is very important because it is interpretable, correct? Now, even after doing so much, your coefficients and such things are fine. You're getting the coefficient stable. I hope you remember this feature and the coefficient. I will still challenge you saying that this model is not good. Right, because I do not know statistically whether I should take this variable seriously or not. Therefore, very importantly, I will be looking at the statistical interpretation of the model, statistical significance of the model. That's what we need to look at. The statistical significance of the model is as follows. Now, in one shot itself, so far you can see here, I have run 35 lines of code. Tomorrow, when you are doing it, you don't need to run 35 lines of code. So then why did you run 35 lines of code? Because I wanted to show you in detail how analysis is done. Tomorrow, for your work, basically, by and large, in 1 or 2 lines of code itself, you can finish the job. So you can see here import statsmodels.formula.api as SMF. Right, this is a package that is inbuilt. Now here OLS, very simple function is there. See here SMF.OLS. OLS is ordinary least square regression. So housing price is the dependent variable. Just put a tilt symbol and first variable independent variable is crime plus second independent variable. So this is the how you have to build the model. So this is where I'm using a different package here, stats model. Let me run this. And after running this model, you can see here, I will be printing the summary of the model. Very simple, print of model.summary. Wow, see here, whatever you achieved through 35 lines of code, in one line of code, you are getting a detailed regression output. You can see here, correct? If you want R square, which is the dependent variable, you can see housing price. What is the model? OLS or ordinary least square. What is the R square? 74%, right? Then you have for each of the variable, you have the coefficient. One thing which I'd like to tell you is, can you see an important column here, which is called as p value? Can you see p value? This is P for peacock. Are you able to see this? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to see this?
Will you please repeat it now that this square has come?
Yes. So what I'm saying is, so this is the column. You're familiar with the coefficients. Earlier also you get the coefficient, the same values by and large you're getting. Now out of this entire table, there is something called as p value. This is the most important part here. So are you able to see this? That's what I'm asking. P value.
Yes, yes.
For each independent variable, there is a p value, correct? Sir, how to make sense of this? Remember, if the p value is less than 0.05, that is a threshold, it means that that particular independent variable is influencing the dependent variable. On the other hand, if the p value is bigger than 0.05, that particular variable is not influencing the dependent variable. Right? So if p is less than 0.04, for let me just interpret for crime, what is the p value? 0.001. Is this variable less than 0.05?
Yes.
So since it is less than 0.05, crime rate is a very useful and an important predictor of housing price. Had this number been greater than 0.05, it means that the variable is unimportant or insignificant. You might as well go ahead and drop that particular variable. But since the crime rate is less than 0.05, I can confidently say that this variable is important. Let us look at pollution level. Pollution level is how much? NOx. So this is NOx. You can see here the p value is 0.000. Is this less than 0.05? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Mithun. Yeah. Will you please repeat it? Yes.
Yeah. For any variable, if the p value is less than 0.05, it means that that variable has a very important contribution. It's a significant predictor of housing price.
Correct.
Here
yes.
in this data, every variable has a p value less than 0.05.
But,
so I should take every variable seriously.
Okay.
If any of these numbers were to be greater than 0.05, it means that it is insignificant.
That's true.
Okay. So
Correct.
this is what I had. So linear regression, what is the theoretical background you saw? How to implement it at a very high level you saw? Scikit-learn, we have implemented it. And lastly, I have shown what is called as stats model. Remember R square, the p value, how to interpret the coefficients. By and large, your 80% of your understanding of linear regression is covered here. Any questions you have, please ask me if you have any questions.
Mithun, yeah, since it's just beginning of this first day, I think you should also tell some basics also, so that okay, they do not get this thing. And also, like for tomorrow, if you give some homework to them, so that they all will get prepared to, so their understanding will be better. That is what I feel. Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll basically try to share this file with you.
Yeah.
So please try to practice this so that you can just understand what is going on here. I don't think I can share this file. Maybe I can just share it. Shall I share it to you, sir? Maybe you can just maybe.
Yes, I will. Yeah, you can share to me. I will mail them to to all participants.
Okay. Shall I just give a high level, perspective once again about this regression? Shall I take you through the codes?
Yes. Yeah, please.
So. This is what we have, right? You can see here, first is basically we have imported the libraries, right? Ignore the second line of code. Here I'm loading the data set, which is called as Boston Housing data set, correct? I'm describing the data set here, print off description of the data set. Then further, I'm just scrolling down. And here basically we have the data frame here, pd.data frame. These are the sets of variables that we have, right? And when you scroll down, you can see here, right? It is just a preview of the data set. Then we ran a correlation matrix. Any idea what is correlation?
That is whether any relation between the two variables. Yes.
Exactly. So is there a relationship between two variables or not? So we have done a heat map. This heat map basically tells you, look at this housing price. We have just color coded it. Wherever there are green color cells, it means that there's a strong positive correlation. Wherever there's a red color cell, it means that there's a negative correlation. This is part of what is called as EDA, or exploratory data analysis. This is EDA or exploratory data analysis. Okay, once this EDA is done, the next thing that you can do is basically just divide the data set into training data set and testing. How to do it? At this stage, you can see here in line number 14, I'm just saying split the data set. Into training and test data set. Okay, train underscore test underscore split. So one question here, what is the percentage of data which will go into training and what is the percentage of data into testing? Anybody can answer this question.
That is, you have suggested 70-30 ratio. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
So if it is otherwise, can you please explain, like, okay, if it's why we should take only 70-30 or why not otherwise?
You can take anything.
Yes, explain.
Right? Yes. So you can take either 80-20 you can take, or 90-10 you can take, or 60-40 you can take. It is entirely your decision, right? You can take any number, but preferably for small samples, if you have a very small sample, take a higher percentage for training. Because if the training itself is poor, for training a child, I need sufficient time, sufficient problems, correct? So if you have only 200 records and you're using 60% of 200, which is 120 cases, then nothing will come out of it. On the other hand, if you have a large data set, you can afford to give a smaller percentage for training, like 60%, 55%, that's okay. But if you have a small data set, it is better to give a higher percentage. 90% also you can take as training. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, yes, correct.
So I've split the data set. So here I am instantiating the linear regression model. You can see here from sklearn.linear.model, import linear regression model. And then basically I am predicting, correct? This does not tell me much because there are no feature names or column names. So this is very, very important. Against each feature, I'm getting the coefficient value. Negative variable, negative value means it has a negative impact on the dependent variable. Positive value means it has a positive impact on the dependent variable. But the problem is we can't say that this variable is important or unimportant merely by looking at the coefficient value. Why not? Because this could have happened randomly, out of chance it would have happened accidentally, because I chose a particular data set and a particular house from Boston, I am getting this. If I choose another house, maybe I'll get a different set of results. Therefore, none of these results can be taken at face value. It is good to look at. It is enjoyable. It is fun to look at, but you can't take it seriously. Why not, sir? Why not? Because I need to look at the p value. And therefore, in the end, I was just explaining the p value. P stands for probability value.
Hello.
Against each independent variable, Python will give you the p value. Very simple thumb rule. Less than 0.05, if you see the p value, that variable is important. Greater than 0.05, that variable is unimportant. That's the simple thumb rule, right? Any variable with a p-value less than 0.05, important. If it is greater than 0.05, unimportant. And never forget R square. What is R square, guys? Any idea?
Coefficient of determination. Sir.
Fantastic, fantastic. Who said that, madam?
Pallavi ma'am.
Okay, so 10,000 rupees for Pallavi, madam.
Yes, yes,
Huh?
yes. Noted, noted. Yeah.
That 10,000 should come from all the people who are silent.
Correct.
Okay, okay. I'm happy at least that one person is answering. Okay. So R square is coefficient of determination. If R square is on the higher side, what can I say?
Model is good, except
Okay, now you have more competition, madam. Ajit
Yes,
sir
sir.
is also answering.
There's good fit.
now Pallavi has started answering. I will keep mum.
Yes.
There's a good fit if it's more than like 0.7. We can
Exactly, which means if it is greater than 0.7, it is usually good. If it is
Yes.
less than 0.05, don't take it seriously. So far, it is clear to everybody.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay, okay. Now, what I'm going to do is firstly, there are a lot of, I just want to draw your attention to one thing, which you may find very, very useful, right? Can you see this YouTube?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to share a channel with you, right? So I'll just share the link. Right? You can see here, there is a lot of useful videos, guys, on machine learning, analytics, and such things. I would suggest, right? So this is some of the videos here. You can see crime analytics and such things. You have a lot of useful video and such things, which I'll just copy this and sort of paste it, right? So you can please use this as a link. A lot of machine learning AI videos are there. There are more than 3,000 such videos you can use here. So my request to you is you please subscribe to this channel and take a look at some of the videos. I have my own channel here, which is called as the Outlier 73. Right? You can look at both of these videos. There may be some overlap, wherein you can see here I'm just explaining about decision tree here. Decision tree model in Google Colab. How do you automate the EDA in Python? These are all some of the videos that I have made. I will continue to make videos. In case you want me to make any video about one or two topics, that is also possible, right? So I'll be sharing this also as a link to the participants, right? Next thing is, sir, I'm not interested in videos. Give me some reading material. So
Correct.
if this is as a beginner, if you're a beginner, what I would always suggest is there is a wonderful book which is called a wonderful online resource which is called as Analytics Vidya. So just type Analytics Vidya and linear regression. Right? You can see here there are so many articles, well-written articles, well-researched articles. Well-written and well-researched articles. You can see here they explain in detail what is linear regression with the help of diagrams and such things. They may ask you to sort of sign up and such things. Don't worry about this. So I found this very, very useful, guys. See here, what is simple linear regression? What is the meaning of best fit line? What is multicollinearity? What is overfitting and underfitting? My request to you is basically, since you're beginning your career, if you're beginning your career, right, you can just pay attention to this. Some people look at mathematics, others you can just ignore it. You can see here all the codes are given here. I hope you can see this, correct?
Yes.
All the codes are given here. You can pull out the codes and try this in Python as well. So let me just share this with you. Right? So this is a good blog to read, Analytics Vidya, right? So Analytics Vidya, if you're a beginner, for people with a slightly more mature content, if you need, slightly more advanced, then you can look at another link which is called as Towards Data Science. Right, towards data science, and you can just click here, towards data science, slightly more nuanced, slightly more serious, and more academically rigorous articles will be appearing here, right? It is not for beginners. Slightly, I would say intermediate people can look at towards data science. This is the second one. Third of the website which I would like to suggest is what is called as KD Nuggets. All right, here you'll get beginner's guide to linear regression, everything you'll get, right? It is like everything you'll get. Just go to the top, right? Topics you want, you can just choose computer vision. Sorry, topics, you can choose either AI, computer vision, data science, ML ops, news, Python, SQL, programming, NLP, machine learning, data engineering, career advice, correct? Any of these you can choose. Sir, I'm not interested in this, sir. I'm interested in data sets. Look at data sets here. So many free data sets they will give so that you can practice analysis. You can practice this analysis. OK, so this KD Nuggets is also very useful. So let me just share this with the participants. So 3 online resources I'm sharing. Analytics Vidya. If you're a beginner, please make it a point to read Analytics Vidya at least 20 minutes every day. In 1 month, you'll become more confident, right? After 1 month of reading and such things, just pull out the code and start experimenting. Don't worry, just start experimenting in Python and such things. Run this, you will get some output, correct? So if you have any questions, what I would suggest is basically, I would give you some of you my this thing, right? My name, my email ID also I'm just sharing with you, because at any stage, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. If I know the answer, I'll definitely try to pitch in. If I do not know, I will say I do not know the answer, and I can point out to the right resource. So I'm sharing with you my mobile number as well. Anyway, I'll come tomorrow also. So this is what I would request you to do. Just I'll share the codes. Today's codes I will be sharing with sir. I'll also share, the data set. You can please practice this once. Any questions you can ask me tomorrow, or else tomorrow we'll be beginning with logistic regression model, right? Slightly different from linear regression, but if you have understood linear regression, logistic regression will be very, very useful to you. My request, simple request to you is please look at the first channel, Reva University Online, because they have industry level people coming there, right? There are more than 50 industry level people who come and speak. And from time to time, they give wonderful sessions, topics on current topics, right? They share wonderful links. So please go to this first link, click on it, subscribe to the channel. You'll get a lot of interesting content and such things, right? That is for people who want to learn through video. Sir, I'm not interested in video. I want to read. So go to Analytics Vidya. So codes will be given to you. Theoretical background will be given to you. Mathematical explanation. All the three things will be given to you, right? So one is video. Second one is the writing part. Whichever suits you, you can just choose. If you ask me personally, some things I learn through video. Other things I learn by writing or by reading Analytics Vidya or towards data science or 3D nuggets. Any of these things, all of these things are very, very good. If you can spend diligently half an hour every day reading this, looking at videos, by around 6 months, I think you should have a lot of confidence. You should be able to understand a lot of concepts, guys. Is it clear? Any questions? The floor is open. Any questions, please ask me. I'll try my best to answer these questions. If I'm not able to answer, definitely in the next class, I'll get back to you with the right answers.
Sir, in this talk, are you going to cover classification and clustering also?
Yes, I'll be covering that also, sir.
Okay, sir.
And yeah, so like this model we have taken, and that was regarding the Boston, the housing problem, the housing prices. So such kind of a the similar applications. Can you give some more examples? Like with this similar kind of a data, we can do more business applications and which can be useful.
Yes, yes. So for example, predicting GDP growth rate and such things, which are the key influencing factors. So you can take the same example, which are the key drivers of GDP growth rate.
Achha, with the similar kind. Okay.
Yes, yes. Secondly, if you are into agricultural economics and such things, the yield per hectare of crops and such things, if you want to model, you can use the same thing.
Okay. Only thing, the dependent and independent variables, those will differ.
Yes, yes. Flight delay, if you want to predict by what number of minutes the flight will be delayed, which all trips will see a bigger delay. By will it be delayed by 36 minutes, 46 minutes, 1.5 hours, 2 hours? If you want to predict delay and such things, again, linear regression can be used.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions by anyone? You can just, by any participants, if you have any.
Yes, please, please feel free to talk. Right, good or bad, don't worry. Right, my boss used to tell me the only question which is a stupid question is the question which you have not asked. Right, rest
Yes,
all the questions are very, very important. Right, so don't worry, don't hesitate. Nobody will laugh at you. You can always please feel free to ask questions. Right, you will never know. Right, you never know. Maybe for you, you may think it's a very stupid or a silly question, but for the others, it may be very informative. So please take this opportunity to ask as many questions as possible, right? So that you can get the best out of this.
Sir, I have one question.
Yes, please. Yes, yes.
So what are the limitations of linear regression?
Very good question. Very good question. What are the limitations of linear regression? Correct. Firstly, the operative word there is linear. Correct. The operative word is linear regression can be modeled, can be used when there is a linear relationship between dependent and independent variables. But many complex phenomena in life may have a non-linear pattern. So to answer your question, the first point is linear regression cannot be used to model non-linear relationships. Okay. Second point, there are certain assumptions behind the data. Assumptions means that linear regression, when you're using linear regression, the independent variables should be uncorrelated. I repeat, the independent variables x1, x2, x3, they should not be related at all. That is what theory says. If they are related, your results will be wrong. So when the variables are highly correlated, what kind of variable? When the independent variables have a high degree of correlation between themselves, linear regression is not an appropriate technique. Third limitation of linear regression. Ideally speaking, to model or to use linear regression, you should have a healthy sample size. Now, what is healthy? That's a bit debatable. That's a bit subjective. Based on my experience, if I have to say, this is not written in any textbook or something. If you have to get good results which are reliable, at least 1,000 samples you need to have. If the data is less than 1,000, usually regression results will be unstable. So to answer your question, to summarize the answer to your question, make sure that the data is linear. For non-linear data, linear regression is not appropriate. It is not suitable. Second point, when there is a high degree of interrelationship among the independent variables, there again, the linear regression model is not appropriate. Third point, make sure that the sample size is healthy, preferably greater than 1,000, right? At least it should be 100 or greater than 100 for you to get some meaningful and reliable results. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir. It's now clear, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Anyone else would like to get some more clarification?
Shamsar, I think you can share your email ID so that I can share the codes and the data set
Yes.
with you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So this is, I will, yeah.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Any questions, any doubts, please ask. Ask.
Yeah.
Ask, please. Ask.
Sir, another question. What is adjusted R square?
What is exactly R square, right?
Yes, adjusted R square. R square.
You're asking a brilliant question. Brilliant question.
Okay. Good. Very good.
See, a very good question. See, R square, when you say, first let's understand R square. R square, you can higher the R square, better it is. That's what I said. But R square, you can keep increasing, you know how? By through two methods. If you increase the sample size, R square will go up. Second method is by adding additional independent variables also, R square can be driven up. These are the two main ways in which you can increase R square. But the problem is basically that R square cannot be used to compare between two linear regression models. Let us say you have built a linear regression model with 8 variables, and I have built a linear regression model with, let's say, 15 variables. So it is not an apple to apple comparison at all. I can't say my R square is higher than yours and claim that my model is better. I can never do that because my R square is expected to be higher because I'm using 15 variables and you're using only 10 variables. It is like if in a team, let's say there's a cricket match that is played between team A and team B. In one team, you have 10 cricketers. The second team, you have 15 members. So a team with 15 members is expected to do better than 10. So it is not, you can't look at the number of runs and say the first team has 15 members, they have scored 100 runs. Second team has only 10 members and they have scored 50. So second team has lost. You can't say that because it's an unfair comparison when you have a different number of variables. Same problem exists with R square. When you have different number of predictors, R square cannot be used for model comparison. This is where your adjusted R square comes into picture. Adjusted R square is used for comparing two different models with two different number of predictors. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
No problem, sir. Thank you for the question.
So I think if there are no questions, we'll take attendance and anyone is having any questions? Okay, so before, I propose the vote of thanks. I'll be sharing the attendance link here and also on the WhatsApp group for some times, and then it will be closed. So all of you to mark your attendance. And tomorrow sharp, Mithun, 7 is because our scheduled time is 7 o'clock. So I think we'll start at 7 tomorrow.
Yes. Sir,
Okay,
definitely.
so yeah, okay, sir. So all of you to join at least 10 minutes before, like 6:45 or 6:50, so that we can start immediately at 7 o'clock. And the resources which we got it, that will be sharing it. So once again, like on behalf of Bharati Vidyapeeth, IMD Institute of Management and Entrepreneurship Development, Pune, and also on behalf of all participants, we thank Mr. Mithun, who has given really a very knowledgeable resources, and also the knowledge which he has given. It is going to be very, very useful for all of us for our future learning. So, sir, thank you for the day, and then we'll again catch up tomorrow with you, and I'll be sharing all
Sure,
the
sir.
resources to them. Yeah.
Definitely, sir, definitely.
Thanks a lot, and thanks all participants and Dr. Ajit Mori sir and all the faculties from the different colleges. So once again, I wish very, very happy Teachers Day, and thanks for gathering on this Atal FDP platform. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Happy Teachers Day to all.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, sir.
Happy
Thanks.
Teachers Day to all.
Tomorrow's topic for discussion is
Happy teachers, sir.
Logistics
Uh,
regression, ma'am.